Bean. Bean. Say hi to the folks, Bean. Ah, there's Indigo. 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 Hey. Boy, neither one of them listen. But welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. I know some of y'all saw my Instagram post. That's what this video is going to be about. The Instagram post I put up there was we're going to park, shake and bake until, well, not necessarily park, shake and bake, but I'm not going to be doing any racing until after the 13th of September. So stay tuned. I'm going to tell you why. Alrighty, folks, like I said, some of y'all saw my Instagram post. A lot of folks hit me up, was, you know, asking me, is it the transmission, is it the new engine, is it the intake, is it the injectors, is it everybody was coming up with all kinds of reasons and was looking for the real reason why I'm not racing till the 13th. Well, for those of y'all that were in the live last night, so I put a lot of spoilers out on the live on Wednesday night, 9 o'clock. Every week, unless I put out a community message, I'm not going to be there. But most of the time, probably 95% of the time, Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, we do a live chat. And I put out all kinds of information. I talk about shake and bake for a little bit, and then we answer, you know, everybody's questions in the chat. So if you got questions on a build, what should you do, what might you want to do, you know, if you got a question about a ProCharger versus Whipple, or you got questions about Whipples or ProChargers or turbos, or whatever question you got, hey, come on in Wednesday night, 9 p.m. We got a multitude of folks in there with a lot more experience than me. Now, I can give you my experience, and if I don't have any experience in what you're asking for, 95% of the time someone in the chat does, and they'll give you at least their experience with whatever you're asking about. So the Wednesday night chat is a great place to get a wealth of information. We drop a lot of knowledge in there, and we always have a good time. We have a blast. So that's enough about Wednesday night. Let's get to shake and bake. So the real reason why I'm not racing until after the 13th of September is right now, when I dynoed the car, I didn't bring my 1650s and I didn't bring the velocity stack. The two main things I probably should have brought. So being that I didn't have those, we dynoed the car on the 1050X injectors, and that night everything was in the low 80s, like 80, 81% duty cycle on the injectors. Fast forward that first week of racing, we put the velocity stack on, and lo and behold, I couldn't fathom that the velocity stack was going to pick me up almost 2 pounds of boost, pretty close to 2 pounds of boost. And that's a lot of additional air going into the engine, and it sucked up a lot of duty cycles from the injectors. So for those 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, I think it was two or 3 weeks, I ran with the velocity stack. The injectors were way up there. So on the low shifts, so 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, they were in the mid to high 80s. So 85 to 87% duty cycle, which is depending on who you talk to, that's really high. So on the top end, we were like 92, 93% duty cycle. So really pushing them injectors, really pushing them to the max. And the same thing happened the next week I ran with the velocity stack. Yeah, we ran low 10s and a couple 9s, but we were really pushing the injectors hard. Fast forward to the last 2 weeks when I ran, so 2 weeks ago when I ran J, and last week when I ran with Incredible Hemi, I wasn't using the velocity stack. So the main two differences between those 2 days is the day I ran J, the weather was terrible. It was like 120 grains, 130 grains, somewhere, some crazy grain. I can't remember. It was in the hundreds somewhere. It was, you know, humidity wasn't too bad. It was like 40-50% humidity, but it was hot. It was like 80 some, 85, 87 somewhere degrees, I think. You can go back and look at the video. But the weather was terrible. And even then, without the velocity stack, I was in the low 80s. So 82, 83% duty cycle, somewhere around in there, which depending on who you talk to, that's still pretty high. Next weekend, the weather was much better when I ran with Incredible Hemi. It was mid 70s, like 40 degrees, 40% humidity, and the grains were in the 60s, 70s, I think. I'm just paraphrasing because I can't remember exactly. So the grains were much better. The weather was much better, and the duty cycle was, again, back. We ran 2 10-0s in a row, back to back. But again, the duty cycle was back up there again. So it was high 80s in the low shifts and mid 90s in the at the end of the run. So being that as it may, normally you guys know I would push the limits and I would just keep on racing. I'm not doing that this time. I'm trying to be a little more prudent with this build because I don't necessarily, well, I still got the old engine, but I don't necessarily have a backup if something happens to this engine, or Lord forbid something happens to the transmission. Then I'm really in trouble. But so I'm trying to be a little bit more prudent with this setup until we get to know it, get to learn it, get to understand, you know, what it's capable of, what it's not capable of, what it can handle, what it can't handle. And then, you know, you know me, we're going to push the limits. This time we're going to push the limits of the trans to see what we can get out of it. But yeah, so that's the plan. On 13 September, I go back to the dyno. I go back to see Dave. We get the 1650s put in. I'll have the velocity stack with me so we can turn things up a little bit. Because we did, the one run, we did run it to 6800. That's when it did 876 to the wheels. At 6500, where we shift now, 65, 6600, it was 836 to the wheels. So with that extra 2 pounds of boost and a little bit more fuel, yeah. So expectation this next dyno, well over 900. There's no doubt in my mind we're going to be over 900. It's just how far over 900 are we going to be? You know, so when you talk 1-2 pounds of boost, you're talking 30-40 horsepower per pound of boost. So you know, maybe we'll just say we're looking at, safely say we're looking at 60 additional horsepower. So at 6500, that's almost 900, and at 6800, that's like 930, 940. So I'm gonna talk to Dave, talk about moving the shifts up from 6500 to maybe 6700, and see how it goes from there. But those are the reasons why. The main reason is injectors is the main reason why I'm not racing until the 13th, and I get the 1650s put in. So I know I hit on a few different things there, but I just wanted to make sure you guys got the full scope of and the thinking of why I'm waiting to the 13th. I think 99.9 of y'all are going to agree with me that I was already pushing the limits with the injectors, but that's the real reason. So yeah, that's all I got for this one, folks. I appreciate y'all watching the videos. I appreciate y'all coming in on Wednesday night in the chat. We have a lot of fun in that Wednesday night chat. But again, you know, please like, subscribe, all those things. But if you are stopping in for the first time, please check out the rest of the channel. If you like what's going on with the channel, do me them few things: like, subscribe, smash the bell, shoot me a comment, share it on your social media. I'll definitely appreciate it. Shake and Bake will definitely appreciate it, because every red penny goes right back from YouTube, goes right back into Shake and Bake. That's it for this one, folks. Till next time, adios.